folks, thanks for tuning in. Hope y'all doing okay today. So, I found out about 20 minutes or so after the fact, but Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty on all 5 counts that he was charged with, I think. And people are already sounding off about it on social media. I got friends that definitely think he should have gone to jail for something. And I've watched the majority, just because I don't have time to watch all of it, of the footage that was admitted into court, and probably some of it that was just, hey, this shows Kyle Rittenhouse doing what he did, put up on YouTube or whatever. So I've definitely seen a bunch of the footage, and I heard, and I'll walk you through my thought process on the whole thing. 17-year-old kid shot 3 people in Kenosha that were protesting for Black Lives Matter. Okay, he's in trouble. 17-year-old, and then I found out a little bit more information. 17-year-old kid shot 3 Black Lives Matter protesters that were attacking him. Well, he might get off on grounds of self-defense, but, there's the gun charge for a minor, and those laws vary state to state, but, there's a gun charge for a minor. Okay. Find out the Wisconsin gun law didn't apply to him because 16, 17-year-olds are allowed to carry a gun, even if it's not in their name or owned by them. Okay. Watch more of the video. This kid, the last thing he wanted to do was, the second to last thing that Kyle wanted to do while he was out there was pull that trigger. The last thing he wanted to do was die. He shot nobody that was not attacking him or presented themselves as a credible threat. He shot nobody that was minding their own business or leaving him alone, or decided, hey, I don't want to attack the teen with an AR that's already dropped 2 people. He completely cooperated with law enforcement. When he went to law enforcement, there's stills and video of him walking up to them with the gun hanging down by its sling, him arms up. Friendly, friendly, friendly. I'm here to turn myself in. I just shot 3 people. And he was essentially told to go home and get out of their hair because they had bigger problems than him at that point in time. They knew right where to get him. They arrested him. He bailed out. Everything that proceeded to happen happened, but I watched all the footage, and I don't think, okay, according to the judge, the gun charge that was filed against him didn't hold water in Wisconsin law. I don't know law, I didn't study it, but I will take the judge's word for it. As far as everything else goes, my opinion, if you watch 10 minutes worth of the raw, unedited footage, and maybe even some compilations, because there are some bits of footage where, people are running and so their phones are just swinging back and forth, you can't make nothing out. But if you watch even a compilation of the Rittenhouse footage from the time he's originally approached and this altercation starts until it ends and he goes to attempt to place himself in police custody, but if you watch that footage through and through, I don't see how you think that he's guilty. My opinion. And that's as someone who knows the self-defense statutes in my state. I took the concealed carry permit class. I still keep one even though we went constitutional. Even though we went constitutional carry, because there is such a thing as a reciprocity list, which is essentially a essentially, states get together, and they say, hey, if a resident from your state travels across state lines and they have a concealed carry permit, we'll honor that like we would a driver's license. Which every state honors every other state's driver's license. So anyway, I have that for the simple fact that when we go on road trips or vacations, or I need to cross state lines for whatever reason, all but one border state, I think, honors my state's concealed permit. And then on top of that, the states that I would typically consider going to honor my state's concealed permit. So if I want to carry a concealed weapon, I can carry it. All I've got to do is declare to the officer, hey, I have a concealed carry permit, I have a weapon on me. And I've been pulled over a couple times with concealed permit, no big deal. But anyway, back to Rittenhouse. I just don't think that a lot of people that are weighing in heavily on this have watched the footage in its entirety. I've got friends on Facebook sounding off about it right now, and they're saying that, well, apparently there's no justice in the legal system, all is normal, carry on kind of stuff. And, if you watch the footage in its entirety, which it's tragic that things went that way, but I don't think that Kyle shouldn't have been there. He's down there rendering first aid and scrubbing graffiti. And, if I had to go someplace like that, you better believe I'm arming myself. I'll tell you a story here real quick, then I'm done. In May of last year, my son ended up having to go to the ER. Got a minor long-term health problem. It's the kind of thing he will eventually grow out of. But it flared up pretty big. Go to the ER, make sure everything's okay. We're in downtown Louisville, Kentucky. I was at work. I ended up leaving, going up there, met with my wife and my son. My sister-in-law used to work as a paramedic up there. And so we're kind of messaging her because she knows enough medical stuff to be smarter than we are. And we're trying to figure out, what's going on, what we need to ask for, test results, things like that. Anyway, get out of there, everything's fine. He's growing out of it and life's good. So anyway, we are getting ready to leave, and we're messaging the sister-in-law, and she's like, y'all need to stay in the hospital. I'm like, no, we need to go home. And she's like, no, y'all need to stay in the hospital. Black Lives Matter is rioting in downtown Louisville. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. And I'm in this, so I'm thinking, well, if they get around the car, I'll just make their ears bleed. And right when we walk out, there's a cop standing in the waiting room in almost full tactical gear. And I'm like, oh, this is real? He goes, yeah. So I look at the TV, and the rioters are attempting to flip over an ambulance that's trying to get to someone that's injured. I asked him, I said, officer, I am just trying to get to the interstate to go home. He's like, what interstate you going to? I said, I just need to go south on 65. He pulls up his phone. It had some maps of where they were and whatnot. He goes, if you leave and go this way and leave now and do not stop, just get out of here. Okay. Whip down out of the parking garage real quick, pay our bill, get out on the road. We get caught at a red light. I'm sitting there holding 2,000 RPMs, sitting still, because if someone decided they were going to be stupid, I was gone. I was running that red light. Also, Dad was packing. Like I said, that's the rule of thumb. When I'm not at work, which they prohibited, I'm packing. And so we got up on the interstate, and I put Louisville behind me with a quickness. And there was quite a bit of violence and property damage and injury done in downtown Louisville over the course of those riots last summer. So I definitely feel for people that were watching their cities get burned. Louisville's not my city or my town, So I definitely feel for people that were watching that done and decided they'd had enough and were trying to make it better. So, whether it's scrubbing graffiti or, rendering first aid to anyone that asked, I don't think Kyle Rittenhouse was in the wrong, and I don't think he was in the wrong to arm himself. And apparently, he knew Wisconsin gun law better than anyone else in the courtroom, with the exception of the judge. So, that's what I got on this one, folks. Kyle Rittenhouse is out. How long do you think it is before Kenosha catches fire again? Hopefully it doesn't. Catch y'all next time. Thanks for tuning in.